My track season was very eventful and important. I improved much and learned more about the great sport, track and field. Because this season was my freshman year, it was a very important season for me to make my mark and improve. I did this, as you'll see in this video. Watch to see where this season took me. Good tonight. Let's go. Intra-squad was my first outdoor race of the season. It was a really good team time trial. Ran quite well despite the fact that there was little competition other than my friend Zach, fellow freshman. It was my first 1600 meters and first high school outdoor race. It was a fantastic experience, simply hanging out with my friends and the team, and later on, I got to do a 4x4 relay, which was a lot of fun. The team was split evenly into two distinct teams, green team and gold team. I was on gold team, and we lost, but it was still extremely fun just to run. My second race of the season was Issaquah Icebreaker Invitational. I was racing in the fast heat of 3200, which was in the afternoon, so I didn't have to be at the stadium until around 2 p.m. The race felt incredibly powerful. I ran well with very consistent splits, setting a PR of 9:56 that I still hold even after the entire season. It was great because Vince and the Seattle Prep guys were rooting for me throughout the race, and it was a very exciting atmosphere. The event had amazing weather, cool and cloudy with little wind, so it was a pleasure to race the 3200 in. South Sound was a fantastic invitational to love. I was dropped off at the bus barn at 7 a.m. with a bagel and high expectations. The bus was almost completely empty. It was just me and 4 other athletes who rode the bus all the way to Spark Stadium, a wonderful stadium directly across the street to the State Fair. I felt well prepared to run well since I was in a fantastic mental state prior to the race. I was totally locked in. There were 2 other Blanchard athletes running the mile race, Nicholas and RJ. Nicholas was in the heat before mine. He ran quite well and won his heat. RJ competed in my heat. RJ started the race out super fast, 2:16 for 800 meters, which was much faster than I was prepared to run. But it was nice since it took the race out. Fortunately, I was able to close the second half quite well and ran a big PR of 4:38. It was a phenomenal race and a great day. Oregon Relays was a big invite to Hayward Field. It was highly anticipated and everyone wanted to go because it was somewhat exclusive within the team. I was intending to do the steeplechase, but I didn't, so I ended up doing the freshman 2 mile. I didn't feel like I ran very well because I didn't fuel correctly and I died on the last few laps. I had no energy left. I was passed by 8 guys the last 2 laps. It wasn't a horrible race, but it wasn't what I really wanted. I ended up running 10:02 for the full 2 miles, which is near but not quite what I wanted. I'm now at Shoreline Stadium, where I ran the Shoreline Invitational Freshman Boys 1600 meter race. I was determined to race faster than I had at the South Sound Invitational the week before. This was because the competition was quite deep. I knew that I could perform well if I simply got out there and raced. However, I did not start the race well, and by the finish, I was exhausted and had lost a lot of my position. I ran almost the same time as at South Sound, 4:38, but it felt much worse and was not a PR. Also, the weather was not ideal since it was raining and cold, so it didn't feel like the perfect day to run a PR. So the week following the Shoreline Invitational, I attended the absolutely spectacular Liberty Twilight Invitational, a distance-only meet featuring numerous heats of the 1600 and the 3200, and I was quite enthusiastic about it since it was such a deep field and it was my last chance to qualify for the Metro League Championship. It was a pretty fun race because I got to see everyone on the team PR, including myself. I felt great before the race, but as I started the race, I went out way too aggressively and opened in 62 seconds, which was way too fast for me to start at 1600. I then settled down too much on the second lap, running a 75-second lap, and it kept going downhill from there. On the final lap, I was passed by a lot of guys. I was able to get a modest PR of 4:35.73. Overall, it was extremely exciting, but I was unfortunately still unable to qualify for the Metro League Championship in the 1600 meters and could only race the 3200 the next week. The Metro League Championship was a crucial race near the end of the season. This is due to the difficulty of qualifying for it, as well as its importance in advancing districts and state. There was a lot of pressure leading up to the race, and it was extremely hot, causing it to not be a very good day to race at 3200. It was raced like a championship race. The front guys started out sluggish, making the race very slow in the beginning, which caused us all to bunch up. And then they all got super fast at the end, which was totally insane and made it extremely difficult for slower racers like me. Me, Nicholas, and Zach were the three slower Blanchett athletes in the race, as Vince was out front, basically leading the whole race. We all performed poorly because we lacked expertise in these major championship events, and it was warm and windy. It wasn't a bad race, but I was thinking about quitting the entire time, and I finished in a time over 20 seconds slower than my PR. But it was a good learning experience and not bad considering the weather conditions. IHS, the Final Four, was my first steeplechase of the season, as I was unable to compete in the steeplechase or in relays. Overall, it was a terrific race, although it was quite chilly for steeplechase, so every time I stepped into the water pit, my calves tightened up. But it was a really nice venue, so it was quite enjoyable. There was no competition, yet I still performed well. It was a good icebreaker for the steeplechase, and I ran a qualifying time for Nike Outdoor Nationals. My race went fairly well. I went out a little bit too hard, but it was okay. Overall, it was a solid preparation for the next week, and I would throw down a much faster time in the steeplechase at the Rain City Flyers Go the Distance meet. It was the first time Rain City Flyers track team, with whom I have run for many years, has run a track meet in 25 years, making it a very significant event. I did a lot of volunteer work prior to the race, so I've been really busy and felt drained and tight for my race. I heard that there would be a lot of high schoolers in the race, so I was excited for a great field, nice place to run a PR. I did well in the race and outperformed myself due to the strong competition. I ran 6:27, 11 seconds faster than the previous week, and it was a lot of fun. Later, I was able to run the 4x8 relay with some of my old teammates. It was incredibly exciting to help with running a meet and then run in the same competition later. I ran an 800-meter race at the Cascade Striders track meet. Cascade Striders is a club in the Seattle area, or just outside the Seattle area. And I ran this meet for my club, Rain City Flyers. This was outside of high school. I went with my high school running friend Zach and Milo, my brother, who is also the editor of these videos. It was a really fun meet because I'd been cutting my mileage a lot, so I felt really fresh, and it was a small meet, so I was able to just have a lot of fun with it. Me, Zach, and Milo warmed up a bit too early, but it was fine because we just had to wait and cheer for other runners on our team. So the race started out, and I opened really fast, a 61, and then ran a 64 to close it, finishing in 2:05.1. Honestly, I ran way faster in the 800 than I expected. I didn't realize I had so much speed in my legs, but I'm pretty happy with the result. I was able to pull off a W and get a chunky PR, although I hadn't run one in a little while. My final meet of the season and the culmination of my entire season was Nike Outdoor Nationals at Haywood Field in Eugene, Oregon. It was a very enjoyable trip with excellent weather. My first race was the Freshman Mile, which felt similar to South Sound race earlier in the season, except they ran quicker and kicked more effectively. The only downside was that I didn't have any teammates with me, so I felt kind of alone at the event. But I still ran fairly strong for 4:38.49 for the full mile, which is roughly a 4:37 in the 1600 meters. The day after I ran the mile, I raced the championship steeplechase, my first championship event at nationals, and it was a fantastic race. I ran a really solid steeplechase, but it was a bit rough because they were on back-to-back days, so my legs were cooked from the mile. But I was still able to run a strong 6:29.24, which was only 2 seconds away from my PR. I performed admirably in both races, but I did not set any personal bests. I was quite near my PRs, and I felt like I competed well, so I'm not too disappointed with the trip. It was a really wonderful experience and a nice way to cap off my season. So, after this amazing and fun season, I have seen what I am really made of. I got to race many times and meet many people. All of my races were very fun, but some were just special. For instance, the Issaquah Icebreaker in the beginning of the season was an exceptional race that helped shape my entire season. My favorite race of the entire season was definitely the Steeplechase, the Rain City Flyers. This is because it was an incredible field at a very nice venue. I had many friends in the race with me. Now, thank you for watching this long, yet I hope quite interesting video about my entire track season. Please consider subscribing and make sure to check out some of my other videos, including my vlog of the Nike Outdoor National.